It was just one night. Stop acting like a victim. She snapped after I found out she'd slept with her coworker. I said, you're right. It was just one night. And this is just one breakup. And started packing. She followed me room to room crying. I loaded my car without responding. She was still talking when I drove away. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. If you want to see more stories like this, thanks. My name's Alex. I'm 32 and I work as a software engineer. I met Sarah back in college. She was this vibrant, ambitious marketing major who could light up any room. We hit it off right away. She had big dreams about climbing the corporate ladder, and I was the steady guy who supported her every step. For 5 years, I was all in. When she got laid off 2 years ago, I covered the rent on our apartment in the city so she wouldn't have to stress. I turned down a promotion that would have meant relocating because she was just starting a new job and didn't want to uproot everything. Hell, I even helped her network, introducing her to some contacts from my side. Looking back, I gave up a lot. Weekend spent helping her prep for interviews. Vacation skipped so we could save for her certifications. I thought that's what you do in a committed relationship. Build together. But over the last few months, things started feeling off. Sarah was working late more often, always at team building events or client dinners. She'd come home smelling like wine and perfume that wasn't hers. But I'd brush it off. I trusted her. We had our routines, movie nights, cooking together, planning a future, or at least I was planning. She started pulling away emotionally, criticizing little things about me. You're always so predictable. Alex, where's the spontaneity? She'd say, with this edge in her voice. It stung, but I figured it was stress from work. I tried harder. Surprise dates. Little gifts. Nothing seemed to stick. Then came the night. Everything shattered. It was a Friday. She'd been at her company's holiday party the evening before, and I stayed home working on a project. She crashed late, mumbling about how fun it was. The next morning, I was making coffee when her phone buzzed on the counter. I glanced over out of habit, force of habit from years together, and saw a text from Mark work. Last night was wild. Can't wait for round 2. Winking face. My stomach dropped. Mark was her coworker. The charismatic sales guy she'd mentioned a few times. Always with this casual admiration. He's so driven. She'd say, I didn't freak out. I waited until she woke up, sat her down in the living room, and showed her the phone. What's this about? I asked, keeping my voice even. I didn't yell. I just wanted the truth. She froze for a second. Then her face twisted into this mix of annoyance and defiance. Oh, come on, Alex. It was just one night. We were drunk. Things got out of hand at the party. Stop acting like a victim. It's not like I planned it. I stared at her, feeling like I'd been punched. You slept with him at the party. She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. Yeah, I did. But it's not a big deal. We've been together forever. Things get stale. Mark he gets it. You know, the excitement, the ambition. You're always playing it safe. Buried in your code. I needed a break from that. A break, I echoed, my mind reeling. This wasn't some abstract betrayal. It was her choosing someone else right under my nose, an event I could have gone to if she'd invited me. Look, it was a mistake. Okay, but you're overreacting. People cheat all the time. It's human. If you loved me, you'd forgive this and move on. Don't make it into some tragedy. Her words cut deep. I'd been loyal through everything. And now I was the one being painted as dramatic. I thought about all the times I'd put her first. The job I passed on. The friends I'd lost touch with because our life revolved around her schedule. It felt so undeserved. Like I'd been a placeholder all along. I took a breath, forcing myself to stay calm. No screaming. No accusation. Just clarity. Tell me more about why it happened. I said quietly. She leaned back on the couch like we were discussing the weather. Fine. Mark and I have been flirting for weeks. He's got this energy. You don't... Last night, after a few drinks, we ended up in his car. It was quick. Passionate. But that's it. One time, you're acting like I murdered someone. Grow up. Alex, There it was. The smugness, no real remorse, just excuses wrapped in condescension. I nodded slowly, letting the weight of it sink in. The room felt smaller, the air thicker with her justifications. I didn't argue. What was there to say? She'd made her choice clear. I sat there for a moment, absorbing her words like a bad dream. I couldn't shake. The coffee I'd made earlier was going cold on the table between us. Steam, long gone. Sarah was still leaning back, arms crossed, like she was defending a point in a meeting rather than explaining why she'd thrown away 5 years. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't call her names. I just looked at her and said, "So that's it? One night with Mark and suddenly I'm the problem?" She sighed dramatically as if I was the one being unreasonable. "Alex, don't twist this. It's not about you being the problem. It's about us. We've been coasting. Mark, he challenges me. He's got that drive, that edge. Last night was a wake-up call. Maybe we both need this. A wake-up call." I repeated flatly. My mind flashed to the times I'd stayed up late, helping her with presentations, or when I drove her to that conference 3 hours away because she was too nervous to go alone. All those moments felt tainted now, like I'd been investing in something that was never mine. "Yeah, exactly," she continued, her tone sharpening. You think our life is perfect, it's routine, work, home, Netflix, repeat. Mark gets the corporate world, the late nights, the risks. He doesn't just clock in and out like you do. And honestly, after what happened, I realized I deserved that kind of passion. Not this comfort zone. You've trapped us in... The word hung there. I'd chosen stability for us, turned down opportunities to keep things steady while she built her career. But now it was a trap. I stood up slowly, walking to the bedroom without a word. She followed, her footsteps quick behind me. "What are you doing?" she asked, voice rising a notch. I pulled a suitcase from the closet and started folding shirts into it. "You're right. It was just one night, and this is just one breakup." She laughed, but it was forced, nervous. "Oh, come on. You're seriously packing over this?" I said it was a mistake. We can talk it out. Therapy. Whatever. But you walking out like some martyr, that's childish. I kept packing methodically. Socks, jeans, a few books from the nightstand. The silence stretched, broken only by the zipper of the bag. She paced the room, her earlier smugness cracking. "Alex, stop. Look at me. I didn't. Fine. You want the full story. Mark and I connected at the party. We danced. We talked shop. He's up for a promotion. You know, one thing led to another. It was exciting. Spontaneous. Something we've lost. But I'm here now telling you that means something. Right? Most people hide it. I zipped the suitcase and wheeled to the living room. She grabbed my arm. "You're really doing this. After everything, I supported you." "Do. Remember when your project tanked last year? I was there. Supported me." I finally turned to her, keeping my voice level. "You complained about the long hours. Said I was neglecting you. But yeah, you were there in body, maybe." Her eyes narrowed. "Say it. This is why you're always playing the victim. Twisting things to make me the bad guy." Mark doesn't do that. He owns his then go be with Mark." I said simply, grabbing my keys from the counter. She stepped in front of the door, tears starting to well up. "Wait. No, I don't want that. I want us, but better. Forgive me." "Alex, it was stupid. Alcohol, fueled. We can fix this." I paused, looking at her. The hypocrisy hit me hard. She'd minimized it as just one night, but now she was begging, her logic twisted like a pretzel. Blame me for the boredom. Justify the cheat, then act like I owed her forgiveness. "Sarah, you chose excitement over us. On that, but I love you." She blurted, voice breaking. "Mark was nothing. A fling. You're my rock." A rock you stepped on to get to him?" I replied calmly. I moved past her, loading the suitcase into my car outside. She followed, barefoot on the driveway. Neighbors probably peeking through curtains. "Alex, please don't leave like this." We can work it out. I'll cut Mark off completely. Block him. Anything. I got in the driver's seat, engine humming to life. She banged on the window lightly. Say something. Don't just drive away. I rolled it down an inch. Goodbye, Sarah. And I pulled out, her figure shrinking in the rearview mirror, still talking, gesturing wildly. No big scene. No final blowout. Just me, detaching. The confusion swirled in my chest. Why her? Why now? But I kept driving. The city blurring by. That drive felt endless. I ended up at my buddy Jake's place across town. He and his wife Lisa were mutual friends, but they'd always been more in my corner. I crashed on their couch that night, staring at the ceiling, replaying her words, "Stop acting like a victim." It echoed, making me question everything. Had I been too safe, too predictable? The pain hid in waves, not just the betrayal, but the way she dismissed it like my loyalty was a joke. The next few days were a fog. I called in sick to work. Pulled up in their guest room. Jake checked on me, offering beers and bad advice. Screw her. Men, you deserve better. But I didn't want to rant or plot revenge. I just sat with it. The unfairness nodded at me. 5 years. And she reduced it to stale. Flashbacks crept in. The time I surprised her with tickets to that concert she loved, only for her to cancel last minute for work. Or when I helped her move into our apartment, carrying boxes up 3 flights while she directed. I'd given so much. And for what? To be compared to some slick coworker. I didn't contact her. No texts. No calls. Radio silence. Instead, I started small steps. Joined a gym downtown. Nothing fancy. Just weights and runs to clear my head. The burn in my muscles drowned out the ache in my chest. I updated my resume. Applied for that senior position I'd passed on before. It meant longer hours. But why not? No one to hold back for now. Weeks turned into months. I found a small apartment in a quieter neighborhood. Nothing shared. Furnished it minimally. Bill. A desk. Some plants. Work picked up. I got the promotion. Diving into projects that challenged me. Therapy helped too. Once a week, talking through the confusion. Why did it hurt so much? I'd ask. The therapist nodded. Because it was undeserved. But you're rebuilding. My internal voice shifted slowly from what did I do wrong to what can I do now. I started hiking on weekends, reading books I'd shelved for years, dated casually once or twice. Nothing serious, but it reminded me I wasn't broken. Meanwhile, karma started creeping in, though I didn't seek it out. Jake filled me in first over coffee, heard from Lisa. Sarah's affair blew up. Apparently, Mark wasn't the prince she'd painted. After their one night, it turned into a full fling, but he was playing the field. Used her for inside info on a big client deal, got his promotion, then ghosted her. Worse, rumors spread at work. Someone saw them at the party, and HR got wind office policy against relationships, especially when it involved favoritism. Sarah got a warning, but the damage was done. Colleagues whispered, her reputation tanked as the homewrecker, even though we weren't married. Then the isolation hit her. Mutual friends like Jake and Lisa pulled back. We saw how she treated you. Lisa said when I asked why, the smug way she justified it. Nah. Sarah posted vague stuff on social media, quotes about growth and mistakes, but likes dwindled. Her family got involved too. Her mum called me once, voice dripping with guilt trip. Sarah struggling. Alex be the bigger person. I hung up politely. No engagement. Financially, she unraveled without my half of the rent. She downsized to a crappy studio, lost a big project at work, focus shot from the drama, and got passed over for a raise. Jake heard she was seeing a therapist, but it wasn't helping her entitlement. She started reaching out indirectly, liking old photos of us, commenting on friends' posts where I was tagged, but I stayed silent. Focusing on my arc, I volunteered at a local tech meetup, met new people, landed a side gig consulting, patting my savings. The confusion faded. Clarity set in. I'd been her safety net, but now I was free falling into something better. By 6 months out, I barely thought of her. My life had momentum, new friends, a trip planned to the mountains, even a promising date with someone from work. Emily, who shared my love for coding puzzles. The silence from my end must have driven her crazy, because that's when the direct attempts started ramping up. But that's for later. For now, sitting with the betrayal taught me resilience. It wasn't fair, but it was fuel. It started subtly about 7 months after I drove away. I'd blocked Sarah on everything right after the breakup. No drama, just a clean cut to protect my peace. But she found ways around it. First, it was an email to my work address, the one she remembered from when I'd helped her with her resume. The subject, can we talk? I opened it out of curiosity, or maybe lingering habit. Alex, I know you're mad, but please hear me out. That night with Mark was the biggest mistake of my life. I was stressed. Drunk. Stupid. You were always so good to me, and I took it for granted. I miss us. The routines. The comfort. Work's been hell without your advice. Let's meet for coffee. I promise. No pressure. I read it twice, feeling a flicker of that old confusion, but no sympathy stirred. She'd called it just one night, dismissed my pain. Now she wanted comfort back. I deleted it without replying. That seemed to open the floodgates. A week later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I answered, thinking it might be a job lead. It was her mum, voice sharp and accusatory. Alex, this is Helen. Sarah's a mess because of you. She's lost weight. Can't sleep. You men think you can just walk away. She told me everything. Yes, she screwed up. But forgiveness is what adults do. Her friends are worried. Even her therapist says she needs closure. Pull her back, for God's sake. The toxicity hit like a wave. Helen had always been overbearing, meddling in our relationship with advice that favored Sarah. She's just passionate. She'd say when Sarah snapped at me, now this, I kept my tone neutral. Helen, this isn't your business. Goodbye. Block that number. 2. Sarah escalated. Text from a new number. It's me. Please. Alex, I saw on social media you're doing well. Congrats on the promotion. I'm proud even if you hate me. But I need to apologize in person. Mark was nothing. He dumped me like trash after getting what he wanted. Work fired me over the rumors. I'm crashing with friends, scraping by on freelance. Remember how we supported each other? I need that now. Hypocrisy at its finest. She'd mocked my safe job, chased Mark's edge. And now she was paying the price. Isolated. Broke. Reputation in shreds. Friends like Jake had cut ties after hearing the full story. Even her family seemed strained from what I gathered. But her plea, it revealed the shift from smug to desperate, clinging to the US. She discarded. I didn't respond. A few days later, she showed up at my new apartment. Must have gotten the address from a mutual contact. I opened the door to her, standing there, eyes red, makeup smudged. Alex, thank God. Let me in. We need to talk. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. There's nothing to say. Sarah, she pushed forward anyway. Words tumbling out. Yes. I was wrong about everything. Mark was abusive, manipulative. He spread lies at work, got me blacklisted. My life's fallen apart. Friends ghosted me. Family thinks I'm a screw up. But you were my constant. I realize now how much I need you. Please, let's try again. I'll change therapy. No more parties. Anything. Her voice cracked, tears flowing. Part of me noted the power reversal. She'd been the one walking over me, now begging at my door. But I felt nothing but detachment. Sarah, you made your choices that lit a fuse. Her desperation flipped to anger. Choices. Like you didn't walking out without fighting for us. That's cowardly. I poured my heart out and you ignore me. Fine. Be alone forever. You'll regret this when I'm back on my feet. You're nothing without me. She stormed off, true colors blazing, entitled Volatile. Her family piled on. A cousin messaged me on social media echoing Helen, Sarah's suffering, man up and forgive. Toxic through and through. I blocked them all, the attempts peaking in desperation before fading, but she wasn't done. Not yet. The final nail came at Jake and Lisa's wedding 9 months post-breakup. It was a small outdoor affair in a park overlooking the city. Mutual friends, good vibes. I'd RSVP'd. Yes. Bringing Emily as my plus one. We'd been dating a couple months. She was kind, driven, no games. Sarah wasn't invited. Jake had made that clear after siding with me. But she showed up anyway, crashing subtly by lingering at the edge of the reception. I spotted her first talking to a distant acquaintance. She looked worn, hair unkempt, dress ill-fitting, like she'd lost her spark. Emily and I were at a table, laughing over champagne, when Sarah approached. Alex, she said, voice shaky but forced, cheerful. Congrats to Jake. Can we step aside for a minute? Emily glanced at me curiously, but I nodded politely. We walked to a quiet corner by the trees. The party hum in the background, up close. Her desperation was palpable, eyes pleading, hands fidgeting. Alex, I had to come. Seeing everyone happy, it hit me. I messed up so bad. Mark destroyed me. Abusive texts, spread rumors, even got me evicted from my place. I'm at my parents' now, job hunting endlessly. No one wants the office drama, girl. But you're glowing. New job, new girl. I get it. But please give me one more chance. We had something real. I'll prove it. The irony stung. Here she was unraveling publicly, while I stood composed, life upgraded. Friends nearby shot glances. Her failure on display against my quiet success. I felt no urge to punish, just indifference. Sarah, I said calmly, it was just one relationship. Stop acting like a victim. Her face pulled. My words, mirroring hers from that fateful morning. What? Alex, that's not fair. I was wrong then. But now nothing's changed. I continued firm. You chose excitement over loyalty. Dismissed my pain as overreaction. I learned from that. Built a life without the drama. Work's thriving. I've got real connections. And Emily, she's everything. You weren't respectful. Present. You're irrelevant to my happiness now. I've moved on completely. Tears welled again, but anger flashed. So that's it. You're better off and I'm trash. Hypocrite. You act evolved, but you're cold. No. I replied evenly, just protecting my peace. Goodbye. Sarah. I walked back to Emily, who squeezed my hand. Everything okay? She asked. Never better. I said, meaning it. Sarah lingered a bit. Watching from afar, but left soon after, her desperation exposed to the group. Whispers following. That was the end. No more attempts. I've blocked all channels. Focused forward. The betrayal was outrageous. Undeserved. But it forged me. Now she's a footnote. I'm the story. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.